In the wake of this devastation, communities are coming together, and we're also hearing more incredible stories of survival.
And we have team coverage tonight, starting with Chris Peterson. He joins us now in Swannanoa.
This is Beacon Village, a neighborhood in the town of Swannanoa just outside of Black Mountain. There's mud and debris everywhere you look, and you can see where the water level rose to the roofs on these houses.
I didn't sleep at all Thursday night checking the updates.
Tissika Shock says she received a mandatory evacuation alert on her phone around 6 o'clock Friday morning. But by then, it was too late.
It was already a river. Our street was already impassable. Like I know not to drive or walk in running water. So we were trapped.
Shock says she and her partner took whatever food they could and moved to their two-story garage.
We had to take turns looking out the window because it was just making us sick to our stomach watching the water rise and not having anywhere else to go.
That's when she noticed her neighbors, a family of 4, swimming down the street. They grabbed hold of the fence in Shock's front yard and made their way to the garage.
Seeing them be able to stand up at some point and just be able to take a second to breathe, and they all 4 were together, I was so happy that they were still alive.
Shock says several of her neighbors were rescued from rooftops.
They were on their rooftops calling out to each other, making sure they were still there and okay. People had been advised when they called 911 to get into the attic, but then water started coming into the attic, so they had to go back down into the water to get out a window and get on a roof.
Shock says her house is the only dry one in the neighborhood. They have no power and are using rainwater to flush toilets. She says the blessing in all of this is the incredible bond she's formed with her neighbors in the midst of this tragedy.
None of us have anything, but we are so willing to share with each other what we do have. And that's been really powerful.
Shock says there is still one neighbor unaccounted for. The last time she saw him, he was floating down the street Friday morning. In Swannanoa, I'm Chris Peterson.
And it is the definition of neighbors helping neighbors.
In fact, one Good Samaritan is collecting donations in the Triad with the help of his daughter. They're bringing those donations to Ashe County, where much of that community is still recovering from Hurricane Helene.
And our Sarah Sowers has more on the group he gathered behind him to keep the efforts going.
One humble hero has been driving into Greensboro to collect supplies for his neighbors that need it most. Their latest goal, to fill up this truck. He told us today he was too busy delivering supplies with the Ashe County Fire Department for an interview, so we stopped by the supply collection point in Greensboro to talk with his daughter and granddaughters instead.
Once we were able to hear from my dad, he came down and we loaded his truck up, and he immediately turned right back around and took it up to Ashe County to the fire department and said, "This is great, I need more."
Lee told us her dad saved 2 neighbors, their dog and cat, after flooding forced them to take shelter on their roof.
Everybody wanted to help. It turns out people just didn't know where to start.
With the help of her neighbor's dad, who drives trucks, they found a trailer and sent out the word to collect as much as they can.
These are our people and they need help, and my dad has always been a helper and always super supportive of people, and he was happy to jump in where he could, and this is just what he could do.
Their kids even got involved, and they say lending a helping hand can be fun.
The adults would chuck the paper towels to us on the trailer, and we would chuck them to me, and he would put them in the truck. Yeah. It was very fun.
You wouldn't know how fast that truck got filled.
All supplies can be dropped off at Brown Hall by the end of the day, Friday. There's a friendly competition between the Canterbury School and Greensboro Montessori to see who can collect the most donations. They are also accepting donations from the general community. Reporting in Greensboro, Sarah Sowers, WXII 12 News.